Welcome to What's in the Actual Mental Health. Ding, ding, ding. I'll be our own music.
We should start harmonizing.
Oh my God, that would be great.
Because we were both in choir, right?
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Were you a soprano?
Absolutely not. I was an alto too.
Oh, I was a soprano, and then as I got older, I got into alto. But I can't sing anymore because once I got intubated, it just ruined that. So
yeah, once I started screaming at my children. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, when I started aggressively screaming at people in my car every day that I drive in this fucking state. God, dicks. Let's just go over that real fast. Okay, everybody, left lane, felony. Okay, you should be Fast and the Furious. You should be wondering if the cops are chasing me. Like, we are going at a speed that is a felony level for me to go to prison.
Correct.
Middle and right lane, I don't give a fuck what you do.
Just get out of
my lane. Just move out of the felony lane.
Yeah.
God, fucking setting up camp.
I'm like somebody's grandma right now, covering up my little blankie. I know. And I'm cold.
It gets a little chilly.
It like fluctuates. And then I'm like, I'm hot. I'm cold. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We're coming in hot. All right. What are we talking about today, Sunshine? Oh, buttercups.
Okay. We're talking about buttercups.
Yeah.
Or if you ask my 4-year-old, butt cheeks. Because everything's about butt cheeks.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so I saw this reel the other day, and it took me like a minute to understand it, but it was like a compilation of like this girl's like coming into my pink era, and then it was like videos and pictures and whatever, like footage essentially of her up until 4 years ago in like black shirts, black dresses, black hair, black nail polish, like very muted colors in general. And then it was like, you know, up until 4 years ago. And then there's like an obvious like shift where you can see she starts like introducing like color and makeup, and she's like in my pink era. And now she's wearing like pink nail polish and pink shirts, and like, I was like, that's weird. I don't understand it. And so then I started reading the comments. I was like, in your pink era, why are you never in your pink era? And then it was like a bunch of women were like, oh, this happened to me, but with glitter. Oh, this happened to me once I left like my corporate job, or once I left my toxic relationship, or once I left whatever. And essentially the idea, of course, then, you know, there's more reels that are similar, like after that.
Yeah.
But it's basically like coming into your own and feeling like comfortable in whatever like bold, maybe statements or bright colors or whatever, you know.
Interesting.
And so I was like, oh damn, that's me.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like.
But it's funny because I didn't get it at first. I was like, pink era, and then I was like, oh, that's my autobiography.
You're like, oh, that's what I'm gonna call it.
Yeah, because that's like exactly what happened to me. Is that I was very like muted and like literally like put in a box for a really long time by everyone in my life, and then I kind of like broke free of that, like. So I could do the exact same thing. Like if you looked at pictures of me.
No, I remember the first time I saw a picture of you from before. I was like, who the fuck is this bitch?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's my friend bitch.
Oh,
oh my bad.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like you could even look like, obviously at this point, if you listen to us for longer than 5 minutes, you know, I've been married like other times, whatever. I don't care anymore.
You know, your practice makes perfect.
Exactly. And so, yeah, I was practicing for a long time. But even if you look at like the wedding dresses or like the colors in my like wedding pictures, or, you know, the hairstyles or hair colors or types of makeup that I did, like if you look at that up until like 3 years ago, and then now, just like you're like, who is that?
Yeah.
And I've shown my photo to like so many people from before, and they're like,
who's that girl?
Yeah, they're like looking at it, like zooming in, like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that funny though? It's so weird. I mean, that's not like weird, like in a bad way. It's like weird in a fascinating way. I don't know. I'm trying to think like what mine would be. I don't know. I've always worn colors. I don't wear a lot of black. Like every now and then.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be colors, but like was there like a point in your life where you felt like you could just be more bold? And I think what you've shared with me as far as like your business and having like Angela, who's like, I fucking got you whether we sink ship or not. Yeah. Where you're like, okay, I can like take off
here we
running.
Go. Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, I can definitely think like when we were sitting in the kitchen and we were having that conversation, and he was just like, why don't you just start your own business? And I'm like, that is the fucking craziest thing I've ever, like, it literally never crossed my mind. I was like, that's weird.
That's so funny because you like to be in control.
I know. And that's why I was like, wait, what? And it's so funny because I guess like, I mean, I'm like a workhorse. Like if you've ever read, it's so funny because we talk about this all the time. If you've ever read the book, Animal Farm. Okay. That doesn't surprise me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But anyways, it's about,
you don't read, whatever.
It's yeah. I'm like, do you have books? But it's basically, it's Orwell. It's a very interesting book. But there's a horse in the book, and his name is Boxer, and he's a workhorse. Like, and these pigs, it's these animals, they take over the farm. Basically, it's you just have to read it. If you haven't read it, you just got to read it. But
you should work in sales.
I know I should, and marketing both. But they take over this farm, and the pigs ultimately become like the ones in control, but do the least amount of fucking work. How does that sound like? And the horse Boxer, like literally, they just like burn him into the ground until he just like falls off a cliff and dies. And so it's interesting because we always, like I always talk about, like how many jobs I've had where, because I am very loyal and because I'm very dedicated to what I do, I have been burned many, every job I've ever had. They have like sucked the fucking life right out of me. And it was that very last one. And I was just like, this is the biggest, because one of the things I had found out, like right before I was about to accept a position to be a clinical director, our HR lady flipped her shit and quit and was just like, fuck this place. Let me burn it to the ground on my way out. And she came up to me and she was like, they're not going to give you the money you deserve because the person who is in the other department who did occupational therapy, whereas I did behavioral therapy, they wanted us to make the same amount of money, even though I saw 40 more clients than she did, because she was best friends with the boss and she was going to throw a fit if I made more. And so they were refusing to pay me more to do 4 times the fucking work. And when I found that out, I remember like going home and I'm just like, what the fuck do I do with this? And that's when he was like, just fuck it, start your own business. And I was like, what? That is so weird. And now it's like, I can't, you couldn't pay me to go back. I would literally be Boxer, but like not dead on my own account. Everybody else's bullshit. I'd just be like, done. So I think that was definitely like a good, like, fuck this shit, because it was nice. And it's been good ever since. It's exhausting in all the fucking ways, but yeah, but it definitely,
what's wrong with us?
Yeah, it definitely brings you into your own. Well, and here's the thing too, is that you very much learn, I think when you come into your own space, whether it's like because you're becoming a business owner or you're just like finding your color, I think you very much also, you have to really start to look at your cracks and like working on all your shit, because I think that was one of the things that was the hardest too. When I started my business, it was just going to be me. And then very quickly, my therapist was like, that's dumb. Like, you can't save the world by yourself, retard. Like, get your shit together,
Like, well, why?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what you mean. And so I brought people on, and the people I brought on were what I would have at that time considered friends. And man, that burned me bad. And that was probably one of the hardest lessons to learn is like, it is, there's a reason they say it's lonely at the top. Because, you can't.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. Why do your friends always fuck you over?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, they don't want to come in your pink with you.
They don't.
No.
Yeah, it
is weird. Because when I died, that is exactly what happened. I died, came back, everybody was Team Rebecca, found my husband, and everyone's like, fuck that bitch. And I was like, wait, what? I have literally one person out of that whole group I still talk to, and that's it. So it's like when you're in your shit, everybody's like, oh, I'll be there for you because you're not doing better than me. And then the minute you do any better, and the dumb thing is that even if I'm doing better, I want you to come with me.
Right.
Like, I don't want to shit on you. I don't want to be like, what does that feel like? It's like you want to be like, okay, what else can I do? Like, how else can we do this together? And yeah, your friends fucking dicks. Fucking assholes.
Yeah,
and maybe that's part of it too.
I've had many a friend fuck me over.
And maybe that's part of what it is though, is like when you come into your own or you come into your pink, I mean, that's part of it, right? You have to shed the blacks, the grays, the other colors, or whatever it is that's not working for you. Just like a fucking butterfly. You got to work, and they say if you help a butterfly out of the cocoon, it can't fly because its wings won't be strong enough.
Yeah.
But god dang, fuck, these wings are very strong. Can we stop?
Yeah, I know. Everyone's like, there's like a phrase that's like, oh, well, God is building character,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have a lot of character.
Yeah, I have so much. We're good.
I don't need any more.
Yeah, we could time out. Practice on someone else.
Like, could you stop with the character?
Could you
I'm
pick
very
anyone else?
characteristic, very charismatic.
There could not be more.
Yeah, could we not? So, I think for me, I feel like is twofold because I got out of my, almost decade relationship / marriage, right? And then a year later, got out of a toxic business relationship. And like, My like road as far as my nurse practitioner career has gone has been really interesting. I started in like almost like a mentee. Okay, whatever. Mentee.
Not to be confused with a manatee.
Right. I was
Very
not a
different.
manatee.
No.
But then I got pregnant, so I was like the size
kind of like a manatee.
Right.
But they're very cute.
Yeah. Okay. Cute. Great. Cute manatees. Yeah. So I like started with this doctor, and she's brilliant, and I like learned so much from her, and in like a very short period of time. But when we started seeing patients together, I was like, whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do. Like I told her like that. Yeah. Like verbatim, however you do your assessment, I'll mimic you. I'll do it exactly. So that in my head, I was like, so that it is like seamless no matter who sees who for this business. And she was like, yeah, I don't think you need to do that. Like, just kind of like do your own thing. And I was like, I don't know how to do my own thing.
You're like, I don't have one of those.
Yeah, I don't have an own thing for so many reasons. One, I was a brand new nurse practitioner, and they're like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're like, ooh,
yeah, what you learn in school is not what you do out of school. And everybody who's like gone to school knows that.
Yeah.
But also, I hadn't really been given the opportunity to think creatively on my own ever, because like I'd only ever worked in corporate America.
Yeah.
I'd only ever worked for like Sprint and like the hospitals and, other like major corporations where it was like, they don't really care about like your say.
Right.
They just like do what I tell you to do when I tell you to do it, so that the people up top can like make sure all their shit's getting done. That's why you hire people like that.
Yeah.
So I hadn't ever really been given the opportunity to think creatively. And that was the first time that I had ever been like, oh, I have a little bit of like autonomy, especially in a professional standpoint too, because I had never had an independent license.
Yeah.
So that kind of like pushed me in this trajectory where then I did end up becoming the workhorse, but it was almost like, and I don't think it was ever intentional. It was just the way that it happened. And like now from on this side, I feel like if I were to hire another nurse practitioner or somebody to do the things that I would be asking them to do, anybody who's an employee works to make the owner money. That's just how it is.
Right.
And some people really are like, yeah, I'm good because you get a paycheck. You get a guaranteed income or whatever. And as an entrepreneur, you don't.
Right.
As the owner, it's like, yeah, you're quote unquote making me money, but I'm fucking living over here on ramen trying to like make this work, make sure your shit's getting paid.
Right.
So anyway, so I kind of like worked my way up, manager, whatever, kind of overseeing the practice. And then we kind of parted ways, and I went on to do the same thing with partners. And in my head, it was like, okay, now I'm going to be an owner and I'll have more like autonomy or say. And what ended up happening is they also wanted me to be the workhorse. And so I didn't really have I wasn't able to come into my own the way that I thought that I could.
Yeah.
And then that kind of like came to a head and exploded as well. So at the same time, I was like leaving my relationship with my ex-husband, coming into like a relationship where my husband now is like, fucking live your dreams, be wild and be free and do you. Yeah. Like, and whatever you have to do, like I'm there with you. Because he has an entrepreneurial spirit, and he is an entrepreneur, and we're just different types of people. Yeah. Like entrepreneurs are not the same as, and like you just said, like now being an entrepreneur, you're like, I would fucking bury myself if I had to work for someone else.
Miserable.
Yeah. 100%.
Miserable. Yeah.
So it was like, I kind of came into my own in two different ways.
Yeah.
And I think that's when, because I was like, just starting to kind of like play with like some colors and getting like some tattoos and stuff. And then like the business broke, and then they used those things against me and manipulated who I had come into almost the same way that I felt like my ex-husband did when I was like, I'm really kind of digging who I'm becoming. And he verbatim was like, I don't like who you are now. And I was like, that fucking sucks, because I really dig who I'm becoming. I really
love this bitch. So that's weird.
That doesn't seem to mesh well. Right. And that kind of like broke my spirit. And then like a year and a half later, to hear that from people that were supposed to be like my business partners, friends, people didn't, and they used things that I had like felt like I was coming into my own, and they started to use it against me. I was like,
Like the fuck?
Yeah, it was like I don't know.
It's weird.
It was like multiple things at once.
Yeah.
So now I feel like really loud and bold and like I can be. And I don't really know, like it just kind of like slowly happened. It wasn't like today I'm going to be this new person, but it was like slowly I was like,
yeah,
I want to get like a leg tattoo. Like I want, because I hadn't gotten a tattoo in like 10 years. My ex-husband was like, I don't dig tattoos. And I'm like, well, I have a lot of them.
Yeah.
But I didn't get a tattoo the entire time we were together.
Oh, wow.
Because he was like, that's not really my thing. And I didn't really, he liked blonde hair. He liked long hair. So I kind of like fit into that mold. Yeah. And then when I started to come out of it, the other previous owners of the business that I was in started essentially like talking shit about it. And then also crushed my spirit. Yeah. So I think once I broke free from like all of that, I really feel like my fucking hair is 3 different colors. I got, tattooed eyebrows now, I got my lip blush. I have like my crazy tattoos on my leg. I had like a very vibrant wedding, and I don't know. I just feel it feels like, oh, that's very much like me.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because I can think of like, I think in a lot of my life, I've had lots of people who were I very much looked up to, or almost even like kind of envied, because they very much like owned their own, just this is who I am. And it's so funny. I have a cousin, her name is Leah, and she and I are only 6 months apart. So we grew up like sisters. Like we lived very close together, and our moms are really good, they're family, but they're also very close. And so Leah and I spent a shit ton of time together. And she was at my wedding. Like, she's literally one of my most favorite, like, humans on the planet. She's so kind. And I remember, like, always, like, watching her just, like, own her own shit and just kind of be her own self. And I always, like, she was always, like, one of my favorite people. But I could never, like, figure out, like, how do you do that? You know what I mean? And it's so funny because it's just, like, it's just something you do. It's like being an empath or, being kind. It's just, like, it's either in you or it's fucking not, like, Like, you're either good or you're a sociopath. Like, these are your choices, But it's so funny because I can remember, like, just, like, watching her and being like, oh, my God, like, she was, like, fascinating to me. And, like, she just always seemed so confident and, like, just always, like, had her little ducks in a row and just owned her shit. Like, I never, like, remember her apologizing or anything. And I think that is probably what took me the longest, is to like get to a space where I don't feel anymore like I have to apologize for who I am. And that's only been probably in the last, like, it really started with my husband, but it's grown even more. I think even because he and I have grown very much in the last couple of years. Because I think like when I very first started my business, I very much didn't know what I was doing, and I'm such a perfectionist.
What?
I know. Shocker for the whole universe on that one.
It's very strange.
Yeah. So when it doesn't go exactly the way I'm like, oh God, what do I do? And I was really like, I think last year I was really, really hard on myself, and I like fucked up my marriage pretty bad for a little while just because of my own bullshit, my own insecurities, and just pushing against my husband, who was very much like, I'm trying to be here for you. I'm trying to help you. You have to let me lead so I can show you. And I was like, no, the fuck I don't. And then it like killed us for a little while, which was not okay. But now we're like in a space where I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, he actually does know. And he's, okay, fuck, I'll just sit here. And
yeah, well, it's the safety. It's like, I mean, it's just like a little kid when you're like, it's not hot. Right. Or like they go to reach for water and they're like my girls, like Lila, my 4-year-old, is very much like that now. One time she touched hot water, like fucking years ago. Yeah. Now I turn the faucet on, she's like, it's too hot. I'm like,
you don't even
You're
know
not
yet.
even near the faucet.
Yeah, it is burned in there,
like,
literally.
I promise you it's not hot. Yeah. And sometimes I have to like drag her fucking hand in.
Right, to
screaming, and then she's like, Wah! Oh.
That's how I was. My husband was like, get dog away. And it's funny because he's one of those people too where he just owns his shit. Like, he's very much who he is. Doesn't give a fuck, like just walks into a room and it's like fucking take it or leave it. And he's another one of those who I look up to, not just because he's huge but tall,
also,
where I'm just like, hi, here you are. But it's just, that's something I find fascinating, is when people are just very altruistic, which they say that's like the highest vibration you can have is altruism. But it's interesting to like watch it, and then now be like, oh, I do kind of know how to do this, and it is in me. And I just was like, I just didn't know how to like make it come out,
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that mine was like in me. I don't know. Cause like I've always had like a leadership personality. I'm a Leo, right? So I like have a lot of like leadership characteristics, I guess. And it's funny because I watch Alana, my 5-year-old, and I'm like, oh, you are so your mother's daughter. She's bossy as fuck. I'm like, dude, we need to ring that in. But like my dad used to tell me all the time, like, you're really bossy. You need to like, you need to think before you speak. You need to like think about the way that sounds to someone else, like watch your tone kind of stuff. And then like Alana is the exact same way.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, oh, this
You're like,
is,
there's my karma.
Yeah. I'm like, ooh, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got karma times 2. Yeah. It must have been, I don't know whose Wheaties I pissed in, but I've always had like the leadership thing, but I never really knew, and maybe it didn't resonate as well because I wasn't as like confident in myself. But I definitely feel like I am very much like, yeah, this is who I am.
Yeah.
Like now, and I'm like, does that make you uncomfortable? You should probably leave.
Yeah, should probably not.
Yeah, you don't like that. You can go anywhere but here. And that I never used to be like that. I was very much like in a box, make myself small.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget. I had a boyfriend who I had the husband that used to beat the shit out of me, got the restraining order, terribly like fearful of men. Started dating this guy that was like a high school like boyfriend that I started redating. And that was like almost more detrimental than the beating the shit out of me and cheating on me because he was super mentally abusive.
Yeah.
And we moved to Florida to go to school, and he was in one school and I was in nursing school. And I'll never forget, it was like a couple weeks after I got to Florida, because he went first and then I went like 6 weeks later. And we're laying there just like hanging out in bed, just like talking or whatever. And he's like, yeah, I think I really needed, I've just like put you in a box to make you small. And now hearing that, I'm like, that is fucked up.
Yeah.
But I just stayed in that box. Like,
Yeah.
even through like my marriage with like my girl's dad, like I've just kind of been in a box.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, that sucks. Like, I don't ever want my kids to be in a box.
No.
But like, also, how do you like rein it in?
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah, I think
okay if you're in a box and then we just like take the training wheels off, you know, or like open one
just,
little side up.
Maybe we don't go buck wild ape shit.
Yeah. Because I wasn't buck wild ape shit in high school. I was.
Well, and I think that's like something like I have to watch with my son is, you know, because he's so chatty and he is so social and I am not at all. I'm the exact opposite of that. I'm very quiet and very like watching and waiting for everyone to murder somebody so I can murder somebody kind of thing. But it's funny because I can remember, you know, I think probably the majority of the women in my family, we kind of have this be seen, not heard kind of mentality, it seems like. And I'm probably going to get a lot of shit for that, but I'm just saying it is like I see it. But, and again, it's just my opinion, but it's very much like, don't make too much noise. Don't be too sassy, you know? And the only person when I was little was like my cousin Leah and my grandfather were very much like, my papa loved my sass and he loved when I would be like, fuck the system, you know, like I was like, I'm not doing this shit, you know? But most of the women in my family were very like, we're not going to do that, you know? And, you know, it's generational too. Like my grandmother was one of 12 who grew up on a farm. Like there wasn't time for sass and there sure shit wasn't time to sparkle. And I think my mom...
there was no pink era.
No, fuck no. She probably is looking for it right now. And my mom very much, I think, has only recently really come into who she is even, you know, which is, it's, you know, and it is beautiful to see because I think she very much in the last couple of years has just kind of figured out really who she is and what she wants to do and all those things. And I got very lucky that I kind of figured it out a little bit sooner. But I think I'm really trying to like do that with my son is like there's times where it's, you know, he takes over a room sometimes and I want to be like, hey, let's not talk so loud or let's not talk so much. And then I'm like, I don't want to do that to him. You know, like I don't want to crush his little spirit. And yeah, there's a time and place. Like sometimes it's like, you got to shut your mouth because people are, you know, the teacher's talking or whatever. But I think that's, and you know, and I think that's probably why he struggled so much in school is because he's not built for regular school where it's just be a sheep. You just sit here and you go from A to B and you don't have any ideas and you don't do shit. And it's just burp, burp, burp. And he's like, but I have all the ideas. He's just like his dad. just like his dad, where he's like, I have all the ideas and all the questions and all the things. And you're just like, oh. So I think that's definitely like trying as a parent to really pull back my own like bullshit that I carry or was taught and not do that to him, you know, just to like let him have his space and let him talk to people and not like instantly be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Or, you know, is he bugging you? Because that's
Does it make you uncomfortable?
Oh, it's so hard. Yeah, it like makes me sweaty, but I don't sweat. But I would imagine it would make me very sweaty for a split second. And then I'll kind of tune into it and I'm like, yeah, no, this is okay. You know, because I can remember we were flying one time and we'd been in the air forever. And he was probably only about 7 at this time. And when we landed, you know, he wants to wiggle. He's ADHD and he's a kid and he's on a plane.
And he's a boy.
And he's a boy. And my mom had gotten out of the seat first and then he was standing there and then it was me and my husband. And he was wiggling and my mom was like, no, you're going to bump into people. And that's how we are in my family. And I was like, no, he can wiggle and everyone else can move the fuck out of the way. And I just kind of looked at the adults around him like, you can move the fuck out of the way.
Yeah, that's
like,
you.
it's coming because he's going to wiggle. You know, for like a split second, I was like, yeah, she's right. And then I was like, no, he fucking needs to move that ass. Like, let him wiggle. And so then I was like, do you want to wiggle? And he's like, yeah. And we like wiggled together. And also, I'm like, if you don't agree with this, here's his dad. Have the fucking conversation with that guy. Good luck. Yeah. Do you enjoy your throat? So, you know, that's part of it. But it does sometimes like take me a second or I'll feel kind of irritated with something he's doing. And I very quickly am like, that's not him. That's your shit. Hone it the fuck in.
Yeah. I definitely like we were at my husband's baseball game last weekend and we're outside at a baseball game and the girls are like yelling and playing and whatever. And I'm like, fucking be quiet.
Yeah.
Don't make so much noise, you know? And then I'm like,
why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? I mean,
Right.
we're outside, which is why I say like use your outdoor voice.
Right.
Like we're not inside. You're not
Right.
yelling in a restaurant. You're not like
Acting a fool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
also,
then I
your
was
kids, who fucking cares? Yeah.
yeah. But it was I was so uncomfortable because people were, you know, and it wasn't like they were being like horribly disruptive, but like they would make a noise and people were like looking like, oh, what was that? You know,
Yeah.
not like what the fuck, but they were like, where did that noise come from?
Right. Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah. Isn't that weird
this
though?
is so uncomfortable. Yeah, because I want to be like, could you fucking stop being distracting?
Right.
And then I'm like, but we're outside at a baseball game.
Right. Like, what does it matter?
No one's getting paid to play.
Yeah. This isn't the end of the world.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, shut up.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause
And that's
this-
when you realize, like, this is mine and this comes from generations of that. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not just my mom who got it from her grandmother, who, you know, my grandmother who got it very much from her mom. It's just that's how a lot of the women in my family are. They're just very, like, quiet. And nobody ever, like, ruffles feathers. And then I come in like a fucking wrecking ball half the time. And I'm like, hey, bitches, what's up? And, you know, and I know, like, it makes my mom uncomfortable. Like, I know I very much
do you ever do it like because it makes your mom uncomfortable?
No, it's just
That
like,
you're like,
yeah, I'm just like,
"Ah."
here it is. And then I see her face and I'm like, oh, well, it's already too late for that now. And I think part of it is too, is that even in the last couple of years, like kind of recognizing that my weirdness does come from somewhere. Like, I'm not just weird, I'm also neurodivergent. And I think like finally figuring that piece out has amped up the ante of fucking being weird. So now I'm like, oh, hold my beer, bitches.
You're like, now I have a fucking reason.
Yeah, I'm like, I got paperwork, motherfuckers.
right? You're like, just a shirt. Like, I'm autistic.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone.
Just back up.
Yeah,
Because it's
just-
about to get weird and sticky. So, you know, I don't think I ever do it on purpose. She might say differently. Honestly, she might say different. I probably did it more on purpose when I was younger. Now I just am like balls to the wall. Like, I don't really give a shit.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I do shit intentionally. That makes my mom uncomfortable.
Yeah?
Because it makes her uncomfortable. And I think it's fucking hilarious.
Oh,
Yeah. Sometimes I'll just like, I'll say like really inappropriate things in public and be like,
see, and I'll say really uncomfortable things, and I'm like, anyway, so whatever. And
yeah,
that
well,
doesn't. I don't
yeah,
even
mine's
stop.
intentional. Because my mom's like, oh God.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure there's lots of times my mom and my grandmother are like, oh, here we go. This is it for sure. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, even sometimes when we go out, I'm like, hey, you can't say those things around these people.
Yeah, and I'm like,
just,
oh,
you're
you
like,
should have given me that warning a day ago.
Yeah.
For it to really set in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to need advance warning.
Like,
I'm also
remember
not
when
the
you-
person to put on speakerphone.
No.
Like any of that stuff.
Nope, I have to warn you. I'm like, hey, we're going into this
Yeah.
scenario.
You're like, hey, this is professional. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Let me switch that on real quick.
Yeah, it is what it is. To an extent,
Yeah.
you know.
But like I said, I think, like you said, like, a big part of it is, I know it is, it's my husband, is that, like I say, he just owns his shit. Like, he's very just, here's what I am, and you can fucking take it or leave it. And I remember just like the very first time I met him, I was like, what the fuck to do with that? Like, but I love you. But also, what the fuck? Hot. Yeah, I was like, dick, but I love you. You know, because he was mad at me, but because I stood him up the first time. I know. And I almost left on that date too, but then I didn't want to be a dick, thank God. And now we're married. But
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first time Mike told me that it was our first gala, and he comes out, and then I came out. Like, it was very much like movie-esque, where he like came out of one door and I came down the other way, and we like met in the middle. And I'm like, hey, and he's like, oh, you look really beautiful. And I was like, oh, I love you, platonically. And he was like,
he's like, and I just died in my soul. Yeah. That's fun. I mean, we both almost really kicked both those relationships right over the edge.
Yeah, I was really trying to get him to just date anybody but me, because when he and I first met, I was still married. Yeah. Unhappy, and like nobody knew. And so I was like really trying to like push, and he never, I mean, my husband now, he like never crossed the line. You know, he wasn't like inappropriate at all. He was very, very much like, you look very nice. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, but I was like, you should date anybody but me.
Like, let me give you this plethora of ladies.
I'm like, golly. Yeah. So that's cool beans.
Yeah. Do you think that like when you weren't like in your pink, or, you know, however you want it, your sparkle, whatever you want to call it, do you think that it made you resentful?
That's a really great question.
That's why I asked it.
I hate you so bad.
Fuck it.
She's like, yeah, no, I know.
Bag of dicks. That's why I get paid to do this. Nobody's paying me.
You know what? I'm a pretty good interviewer also.
I mean, you're not the worst.
I can
fucking fire drill.
Yeah. Did it make me resentful? I don't necessarily know if it made me resentful in my marriage, like with my girl's dad, but maybe in
did you like my crinkly sound? I'm like, it's not time.
Maybe in like other relationships where I don't think resentful. I think I'm more feeling something, whether that's anger or sadness, about not having come into myself sooner. Like, I wish that my dad could have seen this side of me. And it could be, you know, like, I also have told Mike, my husband now, like, if my dad was still alive, there's no way that Mike and I would be together. Like, I've only said that to, like, I think Mike before, but I'm like convinced that like my dad had to die so that I could like meet Mike, or like be with him, so that I could have someone to actually take care of me for the rest of our lives. Because if my dad were still alive, he would have talked some sense into my ex-husband enough to keep me in the box.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because my ex-husband treated me fairly well. I mean, there were red flags or orange flags or whatever we say. Like, he, again, wasn't like outwardly abusive or anything, right, but there were a lot of things that were neglected or dismissed. But my dad very much was like, hey, dude, like, step the fuck up. Yeah. Right. And then when my dad passed, my ex-husband's dad was never like that. It's a cultural thing, a totally different relationship. And even my ex-husband admits, like, I had no one to like look up to or model or whatever.
Right. There's no leading.
Yeah. And that's kind of when things really started to.
Yeah.
So I wish that my dad could see or like participate in this version of me. But I don't think I would be this version of me if he were here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which kind of like full circle means that like my dad helped to keep me in a box.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is kind of hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, shit's glitter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you love who you love, you know? Yeah. It's hard, you know, well, and it's like we talked about last time, it's hard to like find the faults in the people we love sometimes, you know? Yeah. Yeah. I wish my grandfather, I mean, my grandfather never boxed me. Thank God for that. Like, he very much was like,
well, he was the unboxer.
Yeah, he was like, we're going to do whatever. And she can, and I think to him, there was no wrong I could do. Like, I was magical in all the ways, you know? And so I got very lucky with that he was always like, just let her be, you know? Like, I remember like one time, my mom tells a story, like, I don't vividly remember it, but I like came out in a little outfit and it was like a dress and like jeans and then like different colored socks. And like, I was like a hot mess, you know, looking like a Cabbage Patch Kid, but like the garbage one version. And,
But the trailer
trash side of that. And I remember like my mom wanting to be like, she needs to change. Like she can't wear that. And my papa was like, no, just let her be. Like she picked it out. Who cares? And it's so funny because my son does that. He'll come rolling out of his room and I'm like, what the fuck is he wearing? And he does. He looks like homeless. And I'm like, just let him be, you know? And I like can hear my papa. I'm like, just let him be. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't. Like it's his style. If he's comfortable, you know, fuck it. But it's definitely, I do wish my grandfather could have met my husband because they're a lot alike, which is nice. But it's funny because we talk, Angela and I talk all the time about how had we met before I died, we would have never made it. We would have killed each other because the person I was before and just where he was in his life, we would have murdered each other. We would have hated each other. There's no two ways. Like it definitely took him some healing and me to die for it to definitely shift for us to be where we are. And I definitely think me eventually becoming an entrepreneur also happened because I died, because I faced that and had this like, oh, okay, like you have things to do, like you're not done with this, you got to get your shit together. And it very much changed every way I looked at things. It changed the way I looked at people. It changed everything. I mean, it has to. I would hope it would. And for some people it doesn't. And some people, it does change it in a very negative way, which is sad to me. Because when I talk about it, I'm like, oh my God, it was like the best thing that ever happened. Everybody should die one time. And everyone's like, should they though? And I'm like, I don't know. It was great. It worked out real well.
Out for me, yeah. I came back, so.
I came back with a vengeance. So, you know, and then, you know, finding my husband was definitely the cherry on top of that. Because he definitely does help me to just be in my own space and just lets me be my weird. You know, I'll do weird shit and he just laughs. He's like, I love you. And I'm like, oh, I don't know why. That's so weird, you know? Like, oh, okay. But the reason I was asking about the resentful stuff too is that a lot of clients that I've had that are women, you know, there's a lot of resentment that I hear in marriages, especially where, you know, it's like, I can't do what I want. And I do all these things and nobody gives a shit about me. And I had just watched that movie, Night Bitch. Have you watched this movie?
No.
Has Amy Adams in it. It's you got to get ready for the weird because it's weird, but because she like turns into like a dog or something. I don't know. I didn't get that part of the movie. I didn't write this shit, but a huge chunk of the movie is her before she got married and before she had a kid, she was like an artist and then she gave it all up to get married and have a child, right? And then it definitely did not turn out the way she thought, and she was fucking miserable. And she kind of comes into her own and like figures out like she has to tell her husband like, you leave for work for weeks at a time and get to live your best fucking life, and I'm here just, you know, with the kid like sucking at my tit all the time. And it was interesting because I was like, I hear that from a lot of women of like this resentment, like this anger, and it's like, but at what point are we too being responsible and saying, this isn't who I want to be, and how do I come into my pink, and how do I become my night bitch and do the things I need to do so that I am happy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there was definitely like a lot of resentment. And it's interesting now, I find, so like when my ex-husband and I split, he was very angry with me. Yeah. And he still has like some anger toward me, and it kind of like comes out. It's funny, he tolerates me better now that we're not married. And I think I tolerate him less now that we're not married. Yeah. Like I was very accommodating when we were married. Obviously that's kind of some of the issue, but he kind of like wrangles his frustration or his anger. He's like, obviously since we've split, he's only yelled at me once, and it was like early on when it was obviously very like emotionally reactive, you know? But any argument that we have, he's actually like the calm, cool, collected one. And I'm like the fucking Medusa, you know, and we've gotten way better, but I find now he, has recently had a child with somebody that was very, present in our life for a long time. And it's not even her. It's the fact that he gave her what he denied me. And that makes me super resentful. Yeah. And I also feel sadness that I couldn't have had like a child with Mike, like, because I think we would, like, everybody. So I take my birth control like every night at the same time, right? I set an alarm on my phone and it goes off like on my watch or whatever, and it's at 8:30. So generally, I know you don't understand this, but generally I'm out in public.
Yeah, no, I'm fucking been asleep for 4 hours.
Yeah. Well, we're like at the food fights or we're wherever, and I'm like, oh, no chef babies, right? We just are at a point in our lives where it just wouldn't make sense for us.
Yeah.
And we have a really great family dynamic, but that doesn't change the fact that I would still love to have his child. And so I still kind of like, I don't know, grieve maybe the loss of that opportunity.
Yeah.
Cause like sometimes I look at him and I'm like, oh my God, I would love to like have your babies.
Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah. I think that about Angela. I'm like, I don't have a colon and I can't make you a baby.
Yeah. I'm like, I would love nothing more than to carry your child.
I mean, I wouldn't love that part, but
I don't know.
Some of it.
Some of it. Yeah. Like just feeling like, also kind of feeling like I'll never feel like another like baby, like move in your womb, or like, you know, there's just like certain like things that you just can't explain unless you've been pregnant and felt it. So anyway, I find now I feel more resentful almost that he has like taken opportunities and things away from me because he made me so small for so long. And there is a part to play. Like I let him do that. I let him make me feel small for so long. And I didn't stand up for myself, and I didn't like advocate for myself when I should have.
no.
But now he has a baby with another girl, and it's a little boy. And we always talked about like we were going to have 3 kids. And then after Lila, he was like, absolutely not. We're not having any more kids. We're not doing that. We don't have the money. We don't have the support. No. And I was like fucking heartbroken because from literally our 3rd date, we were like 3 kids. I had a miscarriage the first time. We had 2 beautiful little chickens like back to back. And I just was like, okay, I want another kid. And he was like, nope, not a fucking chance. Like, I don't want any more. I'm too old. All the excuses in the book.
Right.
And then he fucking knocks this girl up. And I'm like,
Cool.
are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
You know, whether or not, I don't know the dynamic. I don't know if he
Was excited or
wants a baby or
if he's like,
obviously it wasn't an intentional thing, but I mean, Alana wasn't really intentional
I
either.
mean, you put a
Lila
penis in a
wasn't.
vagina, it becomes very intentional.
I mean, yes, but also, I mean, I didn't think that I could get pregnant. They told me that you have a 3% chance of getting pregnant.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was like, okay. And then boom, boom.
Yeah.
So I think I find myself more resentful now and grieving certain experiences now. Like I'm more angry with him now than I was when we split.
Yeah.
And I think his is the opposite, and that he's kind of like coming into like this whole new life of his.
Right.
And as he should, like I've always wanted him to be happy because that translates to happiness for my kids.
Right.
And for us as like, even though we're divorced, we're still a blended family.
Right.
Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like we're in it to fucking win it.
Right.
And I am grateful that he is the one that I have kids with, because it could be so much worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do think that now that I'm like coming into my own, you know, and I'm like in my pink and blue and pink era, I feel, there's a lot of emotions that kind of come up. Like I missed out on too many years of whatever, like of the entrepreneur stuff, or like feeling like so incredibly like madly, grossly in love with my husband.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, I think, the only thing that pisses me off is I'm like, God damn it. You know, like we don't have as much time. But I also recognize, like I said, if we would have done it any earlier, it would have never worked.
Same.
But it also is like
even 6 months for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, but if it could have just, you know, now we have to live to over 100 and I don't have a colon. So we'll see what that looks like.
So
but
we're going to find a colon.
So I got to borrow one.
So like a young one.
Lend me one. That'd be great. But yeah, I think that's the only thing that sometimes like I'm just like, can you just stay forever? You know, because I'm like, oh, I don't want to, you know, that's the hard part. But yeah, I definitely, and that's why I always tell people like timing is literally everything. Like timing is no joke. And when it's right, it's right. And when it's wrong, it's wrong. And so when you try to like, you know, do that differently, it will fuck everything up. But I definitely, I don't know if I've ever, I think with the narcissist, there's always going to be some resentment just because like stupid things. Like it's so funny the other day, this was like about, I don't know, 6 months ago or something. I had seen a picture. You know, Facebook loves to be like,
Oh,
don't forget
yeah.
when you did this. And it was a picture during.
Fuck you, Facebook.
Yeah, I was like, oh, there I am. And it was like one of the mud dashes that we had here that we did. And I had done it with like my brother and some people from work and stuff and the narcissist. And it was so funny because in the picture, I'm like so skinny. And that was one of the things that he would always like harp on me about is how chunky I was. And I was like, God, what the? I could have rocked that shit for so much longer if I would have just believed, you know? And so it's like stupid shit like that I'm like, oh, that fucked and that still like, I mean, there's still like that part of like feeling like I'm chunky has not resolved itself just yet, as I just ate some Skittles, but they were delicious. Whatever. So whatever. But yeah, so I think those things like I'm resentful in a way, even with myself, of like putting up with shit like that for so long. Cause that pisses me the fuck off. I wish that there was like a me on the outside that could have been like, hey, get your fucking shit together. But again, everything happened the way it was supposed to happen and learn the things I had to learn.
I had some people on the outside in nursing school when I dated my biggest narcissist. And it's funny that you say the chunky thing because there were 2 statements that came out of this dude's mouth that I fucking still hear regularly that like it's been, what is this, 25, 10, like 14 years since maybe 15 or 13.
Yeah.
One was I got out of the shower, like I was just getting, obviously I was butt naked. He comes into the bathroom. He's like, you're definitely like an Albuquerque 10, but you're only like a Florida 7. Ooh. Like on an attraction scale. And I was like the most vulnerable that you could fucking be.
Yeah, like I'm just naked as a jaybird.
No makeup, like fucking hair plastered to your head wet. And he was like, could do better.
Oh.
And the second thing was like, he used to call me skinny mini or fat cat. Like depending on like, cause I lost like a bunch of weight like while we were together. And yeah, so he used to call me fat cat.
That's fucking love that.
And those like they just are stuck in there.
Yeah.
But when I was in nursing school, one of my very close friends, she was 20 years older than me. So she was like it's like her second career. So she was like 45 and I was 25. And she was like, what I wouldn't fucking give to switch spots with you and tell him to fuck right off. Yeah. Like, cause you know, in our later ages.
yours was first because I'm much younger.
She said,
clearly.
Yeah, whatever.
Closer so everyone can compare.
Yeah, that's not closer. That's sideways. This is closer. There's a difference.
This is closer to you.
Okay.
So people can compare
my
youngness to your oldness.
My hair makes me look younger regardless. Wild and crazy.
Yeah, I was going to say, it makes you look crazy.
Yeah, it makes me look batshit crazy. We're just like much more stable. Like,
you've had a lot more fucking kicks to the gooch.
But also coming into your pink, coming into your own or whatever. Like, I'm good. I think I'm good. Yeah. She was like, what? I wouldn't fucking give to switch spots with you just long enough to like cut him off and then keep him cut off. Because I would be like, it was very much like, come here, go away, come here, go away, come here, go away. Yeah. As toxic relationships are, especially with a narcissist and a codependent, where I'm like, I'm going to fucking die now that we're not together. Yeah. And she was like, oh man, what I wouldn't give. And I still was like, nope, this is it for me. This is.
I think I definitely
I'd like to be miserable for the rest of my life. I just want to be here. I had
at least one person who was like, this person's a piece of shit. And I was like, meh. And I think I truly knew because I didn't let him around a whole lot of people. You know, like I knew in the core of it, this is a fucking shit show. And the thing that he would always say about after my weight, the second thing he would always say is, you're one of those people that everybody either loves you or they hate you. And to this day, when I think that, I'm like, you know what? Go fuck yourself. Like, maybe that's true because maybe I'm not everybody's cup of tequila. So fuck off or get your line, you know? But the way he would say it, it was very like,
like you're not for everyone.
Yeah, like you're kind of one of those. So yeah, those like live in my brain.
Oof.
Yeah. Isn't that weird though? And yet, like you said, it's been 100 fucking years and it's still like sometimes I'll think of something and I'm like, oh, you fucking little shit.
Yep.
God, I would love to run into him with my husband.
See.
Amazing. That would be the best surprise ever. Yeah.
So we, my ex, when we lived in Florida, the narcissist, the fat cat guy, he and I went
Is he fat and bald now? Can we picture that?
No, he's not fat and bald. He's not skinny, but he's not fat. He's not bald though. He has a pretty good head of hair.
Of course.
But it's fine. Again, I don't want, the thing is, I don't ever wish poorly on anyone.
I do.
Even like my ex-husband, like beat the shit out of me. Like, I'm not like, God, I hope that I'm just like, I just want you to stay away from me. Like,
No, I just
whatever
hope
it
the
is-
universe gives you what the universe knows you deserve. You know?
That's fair.
That's what I hope.
That's fair. We went through like a counseling like session, or not like session, but we went through like a, I guess a session, like a couple of sessions, but it was almost like premarital counseling because we were discussing getting married.
Kind of like mediation kind of thing.
Yeah. And so they had us do a compatibility test, and it's pretty telling. And and you take it separately, and you can't see each other's scores until you meet with the pastor, right? And they go over all the things. And we had like a 40% compatibility rate, and he's like, "That's low as fuck." I mean, but in the Christian way, he was like, "Oh, you know,
Ooh, the Lord doesn't like that.
yeah, the Lord ain't here for this."
The Lord is not giveth on this fucking marriage.
Yeah, the Lord was like, "Ooh," like,
He's like, turn around.
yeah, he was like,
again.
"Don't do this."
Pick a different one.
And so we go over all the results, and like the guy that I was with, he's like, "Yeah, this is," and he was like, I answered it like super honestly, and so did I, and there was like no compatibility. We were like very much on like opposite sides of how we like essentially saw or interpreted the relationship. And I was like, oh my God. But I don't know. I don't know I don't know what's wrong with me, but the pastor looked right at me, looked like directly in the eye, and was like
trying to look in your soul.
Yeah. He's like, I am telling you, based on this, you will be miserable and compromise who you are for the rest of your life if you get married. And he told me this in front of the guy. And I was like, yeah.
We would like to get married today.
I literally was like, it's fine.
Wow. Oh.
Yeah. I was like, no, I'll just change it. I'll just do whatever I have to fix it.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
Oh.
In a box.
Oh, that's sad.
And the guy and the poor pastor probably wanted to be like, I need you to leave right now.
Yeah, he's probably like, you're killing my job.
But
right
he
now.
was like, okay. Like now I'm sure like he's like, what do I do?
Yeah, he's
this?
like, I'm just gonna pray on this.
Like instead of me being like, oh my God, that's terrible or whatever. And even the guy that I was with was like, do you hear yourself? And I was like, it's fine. I'll just change it. I'll just essentially mold myself into whatever it is that you need.
Oh.
Can you, knowing me now, like imagine that coming from me?
No. I mean, I can only because I know you, but not like now doing it now.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, you don't like my hair? Could you fuck off and get out of my building? Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I live too much in a box. I've always just been kind of weird. You know, that's just kind of my thing. Like I've always just been, I think probably like when I was in high school, I probably tried to box myself a little bit. But I also like started working when I was really young. I didn't have time. Like I didn't have time to fuck around and like worry about the stuff. And then I didn't date a whole lot. Like I would date and then I'd be done for very long periods of time. And I would date and I'd be really like just like I just didn't fuck around. And I feel like, I think there's definitely times where I compromised on things that like looking back, I'm like, that should have never compromised on that.
Like my entire decade of my 20s.
Yeah, see, and but I think for a lot of it, which is why literally even up at our wedding, my mom was like, oh, we never thought Rebecca was going to get married. And I was like, okay, Deborah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was like, could we share that story? Not at my wedding, please. But I also recognize
why do people think that that's funny?
I don't know. And still, I'm not sure why. And she'll still say it sometimes. Like, she'll be like, yeah, we were really like, we didn't think she was ever going to get married. And I'm like, well,
who the fuck is we, by the way?
Yeah,
can we talk to all the wees?
Little mouse in your pocket. That's what I always ask people. Do you have a little mouse in your pocket there? Wee. Yeah, calm down. Wee. Because when people wee me, I hate it. But yeah, I definitely, and I'm like, well, it's not that I didn't, I just also watched my dad like marry and divorce like 7 friggin' times. My mom twice. Her last marriage was very implosive into my world, especially. And I was like, I think I'm good. Like, I don't have to. It just was never like I had to get married. It didn't feel like, oh my God, that's going to be the top of my list of shit to do. Like, no one really my grandmother very much pushed career, not marriage. My granny was very much like, I want you to have a career. She was like, go the opposite,
That's funny because my grandma was the opposite.
See, yeah.
Get married, have kids, don't go to school.
Yeah, no, Granny was very like, so what school are you going to go to and what would that look like? And very much was like, she wanted me to very much like go a different
That's really
route.
interesting because that generation is very much like get married, have kids.
Yeah.
Like my grandma was like, you can't work and have kids. And I was so offended when she told me that.
Yeah, I would have been real pissed.
I left the house. Like, we were in the middle of a family dinner, and I was like, I'm leaving. Like, how could you like say that to me?
Yeah.
I was pissed.
Yeah, I don't remember Granny ever really talking to me about like marriage or kids. I think she was always like, you're going to go to college and you're going to do these things. And she was always like real big on like your reading and like me doing activities to like be good in school and stuff like that. So it was never like, marriage was never like really that big of a deal. So it was like, okay, whatever. But also when I knew, with the exception of probably the narcissist, when relationships were not working, I just was like, this isn't working. I'm done. I'm not happy. I don't like this. I don't like you. I'm fucking done.
It's bizarre. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. I was always just like, this doesn't feel good, And then the narcissist got a hold of me and fucking just weaseled in there. And that one fucked my shit up. And the timing was just impeccable. Like, I had just gotten out of a relationship that I was very like in love with, and it fucking wrecked me. And it was like perfect fucking timing, And I think that was part of it, because before that I was always like, nah, I'm good. And I would just be by myself for a while, So I don't think it's so. I think the only person who's really probably boxed me a whole bunch is me. I have a tendency to be like, oh, you have to be perfect. The perfection thing is hard for me. Like, I have to be a people pleaser and I have to be perfect. And I've definitely started to push against that really hard lately and be like, oh, and sometimes too hard. Sometimes I get a little reckless and I'm like, it was kind of a dick move. I should probably be careful.
It's funny.
Yeah. So I could definitely see that. But I could see how that, when it's, when like marriage and kids are something that are very like, this is what you need to do, and that's not something you want to do. Again, that brings up like the resentment of like, I didn't really want to do that. Or I gave up all of this to do this. And that doesn't feel good. But also, again, where are we at where we just say, I need this or I don't need that, or I want this and I don't want that. And we don't do that.
No. I felt very much like, I don't know, in my marriage with my girl's dad, I felt almost like a bait and switch a little bit, where like I had all the right conversations. We did all the right things. Like, how many kids do you want? What's your faith like? What's your outlook on finances? Like, we had all these conversations,
right.
And then we went to premarital counseling for 9 months.
Oh, wow.
We took a compatibility test and it was 90% compatible.
Oh, that's crazy.
And I was very happy, And then it was like 2 years in, 2.5. Like, we got married in November. And I remember, like it was yesterday, sitting in a specific restaurant in March. We had just bought our house. And it was like, in my head, it was like, okay, he's a little bit older than me. And it was like, get married, because we'd been together for 2 years. Get married, buy the house, have the kids. That was the fucking plan. That was our plan. And then it was like, I was like, okay, I want to start like trying to have kids. And he was like, no. And I also don't like to be told no. So a little bit of, but I was like, what? Neither do you.
True.
You're like, I can't refute that.
Yeah, that's actually, I'm not gonna even, I can't even pretend.
You're like, that is accurate. I'm gonna hold a big sign that says yes.
Hashtag fuck yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same. But so he was like, no, I'm not, I don't want to do that. And I was so angry. And he was like, I'm not happy right now. Like, I'm gonna be really honest with you. I'm not even happy right now. And like, he meant like as a whole, not just like in the moment. And I was like, oh my God, I fucking did it again. And it was like, we've been married for like 4 months. Oh. And I was like, oh. And then we kind of smoothed it over and whatever. And then, there's a lot in between when we had that argument and when we actually had our kid. It was like almost 2 years. Oops. So there's a lot in between there, but it kind of was like, I felt like a little bit of a bait and switch. And so I tried to conform more into like what he wanted when he wanted it, as opposed to like, I know that I want kids. I know that I want us to like start doing X, Y, and Z. Like, this is the direction that I want to go. And he was just like, no urgency, no interest in like changing, no real interest in like compromising or doing. It was all like on his time. And that was like one of our biggest arguments, was like, it's always on like what you want, when you want it, how you want it. And it was like always give. Yeah. So now I maybe am a little more maybe I overcorrected and I'm like more stubborn. I'm like, I'm not giving you fucking shit. Like, and that's for like anyone. Like, oh, you want that? I don't care what you want.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. I try. Like, I do try to like check myself. But yeah, sometimes I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
And you're like, nah,
and there's literally no reason for it. Like, I'm like, nope, I'm just going to say no because I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no.
Yeah, I've done that. My husband loves it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he's like, there's actually no reason, is there? I'm like, nope, I'm not wrong.
This is where I am right now.
This is it. That's all I got. I'm digging in on this. And I was like, well, that's dumb. It's real dumb.
Yeah.
So it's real healthy.
So coming into my own, like at least now I know, like when I'm triggered of something about something or by something or like whatever, I'm very like open about like, oh, yep, that's not you, that's me.
Yeah.
But that's me.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oops.
Yeah. I try to be better about being quicker to like check my shit and be like, God damn it. It doesn't mean I'll always apologize. Doesn't mean I'll always fix it, but I'm working on it.
When you say always.
Sometimes. I do. Dick. Maybe you haven't earned it yet.
A year and a half in.
Yeah. Talk to my husband. He's like, fucking 6 years
He's
in.
like, I got my first apology.
Yeah, he's like,
Tuesday.
He's like, and I wrote it on the calendar.
And I made you sign it in blood.
Yeah, because there will be another 6 years before the next one. Yeah, probably not wrong. But yeah, I could definitely see where some people struggle with that. So like, as you continue to like come into your own, like what's like the next piece that you want to like open or shed?
Oh,
Another good question. Thank you.
you fucking.
Yeah. Fucking car sales.
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know. I feel like I shed a lot at once. Like I was like, bah, like I just like took on okay, here we go. Have you seen the Grey's Anatomy episode where Meredith cuts Christina out of the dress?
Yes.
That is very much, that was very much me. Like just
where
fucking.
She has no eyebrows. Your eyebrows are fine, but
Thank you. I do have eyebrows. Yeah. They're here. These are them.
Yeah.
Where she just is like, I'm fucking suffocating.
Yeah.
Cut me out. Like, get me out right now.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what I did. So like, I wait. And then I fucking shedded it. I shed all of it at once. Like I was like, get the fuck off me. And I was just like fucking butt naked. Like, well, I gotta
shed myself.
I gotta find clothes that
shed
fit.
all over.
Yeah. And then there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of things that I have done since then. Like whether that's like the tattoos or, you know, different like a procedure or different hair colors and like moving and like the business thing. And like, I don't really know that there's anything next for me just because I fucking did it all at once. I was like, oh, everything. I'm doing all, like literally all of it because that's who I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my like Arian, she'll be the first to tell you like Kat doesn't ever do anything like slowly or like, no.
Yeah,
nope.
Just big chunks.
It's like I wait and then do, and then it's like boom. Yeah, I'm like, oh, I blew that up.
You're like, that's it. That's all I got. Fuck off. See you in a few.
Yeah, yeah, because I don't really know like what else would there be? Like what else is left?
I don't know.
My fucking literally down to like my wardrobe, I mean everything is different.
Yeah.
I don't know what else is left to shed.
You could be nicer to me.
Oh, okay.
Just kidding. You're very nice.
Yeah. Most of the time.
Dick.
I could be nicer to you as you just called me a dick.
I love your face.
Well, what about you? Do you have something?
I should probably. I think, like I said, I think I'm going to keep working on like this this perfection thing that I do, which causes me to be very controlling, which isn't fun for anybody. I think there's certain aspects of control that are like helpful for people, like planning trips. I'm phenomenal at that.
Oh boy.
So I'm also a certified travel agent. Shocker, but
I hate
but
it.
no, I think very much kind of just like allowing a lot of just no more like perfection. Just like even with like this golf tournament for the fundraiser. I mean, for our nonprofit.
You like even the word golf tournament coming out of your mouth just now.
Yeah. So that has been a big piece of learning these last few months, it feels like. And like I'm very at the stage of just like, whatever. fuck ever. Either it happens or it doesn't, and either it implodes or it goes well. Like I don't even like have any feelings about it anymore because I'm just like I don't want to. I can't control it. I can't. I've done as much as I can. Either it's going to work out or it's going to get canceled. Like these are your two fucking options. Mm-hmm. And I think part of it is I like had this conversation with Angelo. It's like like I see what you did with the gala, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this, and it's like that's your fourth. And it's about to be your fifth. This is the first time you've ever done anything fundraiser. I didn't even fucking Girl Scout cookies. I didn't even fundraise. I'm just like, want some cookies? No, fuck off. Okay. I just like had other people sell my cookies for me. So it's definitely not my repertoire. It's definitely not something I'm good at. And I definitely am recognizing that there are things this year that I would like to learn how to do better, which means I'm going to have to lean into not being perfect at them. And making a lot of mistakes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's definitely probably the biggest thing that I would like to continue. That's so gross, but continue to like figure out. Yeah, is to just let go of this. Like I have to control all the things, and everything has to be perfect, and nothing can be wrong. And and it's funny because I'm 100% sure that's why the universe gave me both a husband and a son. They're like little tornadoes. Like I come home and I'm like, oh, there's shit everywhere. There's socks and there's dishes. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to leave. I have to get a new house. And then it's like, or you could just chill the fuck out and just chill the fuck out. And they will clean it up eventually, not right in this moment. And it'll be fine. And that's a big part of me just being a control freak. And I have to lean into not doing it so fucking much. So yeah, that's probably the next fucking piece. Hate it, but that's a big piece though for me because I've done that since I was a kid. I've always been very
because it's safe and
very
predictable,
and it is, and I know exactly what's going to happen and when it's going to happen, and the fuck if anything's going to come out of some little corner somewhere. No, the fuck it won't. So leaning into like shedding that piece of just being a human and not expecting and realizing that ironically, the people who love me the most, including your ass, don't expect that from me. I'm the only one that puts that expectation on myself. And it has taken me several years to recognize that. And it's really, it helps a lot that my husband is just like, whatever the fuck you want to do. Like, I'm going to support this. I'm going to cheer you on. I'm going to Sherpa your shit. Like, I'm going to do the things. Just, it'll be fine. And no matter what, it'll be fine. And I'm like, okay. So that's probably the biggest one is just learning to
that's so interesting.
Shed the perfection.
Yeah.
It's gross. It's the worst.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So I got some stuff to learn this year.
Well, we're like halfway through the year.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm a slow fucking burn. I'm a slow burn. Let me just fucking take a minute. Plus, there's no certification at the end of this one, and that's bullshit. I'm gonna make my own.
So fucking funny.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a certification regarding nonprofits or fundraising.
Yeah, I already have that one.
Oh.
I already got that. I clearly didn't learn anything, but
cool.
I got they'll clearly give you a little thing. I mean, I didn't learn a lot, but yeah, I definitely got a little badge. Okay. Yeah, that's dumb.
That's dumb.
That's dumb. I didn't really learn. Oh, actually, I did learn. I learned that it's a pain in the fucking balls. That's what I'm learning. Fucking saving people. It's hard.
It is hard. Saving people is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I would say maybe opening up to things that I was previously like super resistant to, like
my friendship.
You were the one that said that I had the RBF.
You did. Yeah, I was like, that poisonous frog looks like she's gonna murder me.
And then you were like octopi with me, so I don't fucking want to hear that shit. I guess really coming into maybe from a business aspect, or we talked about like for the entire like time that I've been a nurse practitioner, I'm like, fuck insurance, because I like absolutely want nothing to do with it. And I still kind of pretty much don't want anything to do with it still. But putting myself in a position where maybe it's okay to like let go a little bit and like hire someone else within the company to deal with insurance based so that we can actually help and reach more people instead of like only doing it in a cash based situation. That's going to be really hard for me because I don't know the insurance side.
It's terrible. It's the worst.
Yeah, I
Which
know.
is why I have somebody who's miraculously amazing who does it, because I would kill somebody.
The billing thing is, but what I mean, as a business, we've never accepted insurance.
Yeah.
But I really do want to do my best to help people. Obviously we have to do it to keep the lights on too. Like we have to do it in a manner that we can keep the lights on. But, I want to help more people. And I think that's like, just like your therapist, like you can't do it alone.
Right.
Right now I'm a single practitioner. I have people that work under me, but I'm an independent license. I'm the only independent license.
Right.
And so I'm kind of at capacity.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is not fun. No.
So there's a little bit of threat to hire somebody with the same degree as me and feeling like they aren't just going to steal my shit and run. So maybe that's like a little bit of like, I wouldn't say that's necessarily unboxing. Maybe it is, but growing. That's some growing pains. Cause
because it requires some vulnerability.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. And I've just been like fucking shanked so many times that I'm like, who is it? So it's going to have to be a really smart, very intentional hire.
Yeah.
And as I have just shared, I do like to fucking hit the ground running, and that's not going to be a fast hire.
No. You're going to have to, slow burn the fuck out of that one.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be moving in the background to get it started.
Yeah.
But that particular hire, I think, is something that I'm even just like pull away from the microphone. I'm like, it's scary because I'm like, well, what if they just fucking take my shit and run?
Yeah. I mean, they could, but the alternative is what if they don't? And then they help you.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Right. Just like you. Like,
right.
I mean, any of your therapists could.
Yeah, easily.
Could also.
Yeah, they could jack my shit and then I'd have to
kill them.
Find them. Yeah. And I think that's probably, I mean, realistically, we're at 3 years. We've turned 3 years this month, actually.
Ooh,
I know, she's a little 3-year-old. Look at her go. 3 years old. And it's probably been this year specifically where I probably have the absolute best team of people who I wholeheartedly trust. And I'm now kind of being able to pull back a little bit more and more. But it's taken, that first year was real fucking rough. And now this
there's
year.
just so much fear.
Yeah. And like I said, hiring people is a pain in the ass. Managing people is a pain in the ass. And you have to have just the right people. And then you have to be really cognizant of like the business that you're building isn't dependent on you being the one that answers all the questions, because then you can never leave the business.
Yeah.
And I fucked that up in the very beginning, being like the source of everything. So I was the only one that everyone came to, and it burned me out very fast. And I'm really starting to shift that now. And there's a whole fucking business term for the way you're supposed to do it, which is not like the way where you're the only person. It's the way where it's like structured so that like if I got hit by a plane tomorrow, you would know how to do this, and this could keep going without me. And so I'm working really hard to figure out how to like start shifting it that way, because I have to start to pull back, because if I'm going to get this fucking nonprofit golf tournament going and then all the other 5,000 things and then other stuff that I would like to grow, you just can't be there as much. So, and it is terrifying. Yeah. And I worry about it sometimes. I'm like, who will cause me to have to fucking lose my shit?
Yeah. Well, we're 1 year as of March.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And like,
that was fast.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I started seeing patients just by myself, and then I hired Diego in July, so we're coming up on like employees in July.
Wow.
Yeah, and so now I'm at that point where I'm like, oh yeah, in order for me to really scale and like be outside of the infant age, their infant stage, there have to be certain things in place, and that's very, very scary. See, I'm all fidgety and twitchy, and it's like my palms are sweating. It's very uncomfortable, and like I really am like, okay, but I am one. If it's uncomfortable, I just fucking lean right into it, and I'm like, oh god, that hurts.
You're like, that's so bad.
Yeah, and I'm like, keep going.
Yeah, yeah, but that's good, and I think that's smart, and that's the way you're going to do it, and it will be fine. It will be, because you have a different perspective, you have a different team, you have me. So you're welcome is really what that is.
For
so,
you.
Yeah, because there's that. So.
To tell people how to do their job.
Yeah, especially when I don't do it. So yeah, I think you're going to be fine.
Great.
I think it's going to be good, but you have to do it either way. Because you just can't be the forefront. It will drain you.
Yeah.
It will suck the life out of you.
It's doing it.
Well, it's like even what we talked about, like trying to take a vacation. You're like, oh, it's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Taking vacation, I think, is more stressful right now than enjoyable, because then I'm like, because I am like the fucking eye of the storm right now. Yeah. And because that's just when you start, that's just how it has to
you have
be.
no other choice.
Yeah. And so really trying to like pull away from that is hard, because if I'm not here, my business isn't making money or as much money.
Yeah.
And that's scary as
Yeah.
an infant
Yeah.
business too. So there's just like a lot of fearful
Fun
things.
things. Yeah. Well, I have faith in you.
Thanks.
You don't suck.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So there's that.
My dad used to say that about good food. He'd be like, "Oh, this doesn't suck."
See?
And I'd be like, "That means it's good."
Yeah, exactly. So now you know. Okay. Are you ready for your animal fact?
I have been waiting 1 hour and 15 minutes.
I
for my
figured you
animal
would
fact.
be so excited for this. Okay. This isn't the one I was going to do, but it's the one I'm going to give you today. They have a better one. Not a better one. I just have one that's really fascinating, but I can't remember it right now. So we're going to do elephants.
So it wasn't that fascinating.
It is
then.
fascinating. It's just like there's a lot of science to it. I can't pull the science out today. I'm tired because, I was not up late. But still, we're going to do elephants today. I fucking love elephants. So, besides the fact that they are like the kindest, sweetest things ever, did you know that elephants don't actually walk on the bottom of their feet? They walk like on their toes, their tippy toes, because this cartilage or whatever that's on the bottom of their feet that causes it to be the sole of their feet is actually very squishy. So like if you ever get to squish the foot of an elephant, it's like real squishy. So because of that, and because it covers the whole surface of their foot, it causes them to not walk flat. It causes them to like tippy toe it. Yeah. And they don't actually drink water up their nose like people think they do. They use their trunk like an arm to like pick things up, and they use it to like suck up water. And I think it's like 9 gallons of water will fit in their trunk, and then they put it in their mouth, or they'll like spray it on each other when they're hot. And baby elephants don't understand their trunk, so they like trip over their trunk a lot, or they'll like step on it, or like when they go to get water when they're real little, they like get like in the water, like their face in the water. Their like trunk is like way in there and then comes out. It's like the best thing ever. But my favorite thing is that like when you watch baby elephants, they like twirl their trunk like men do their dicks, and I'm like, oh my god, it is all the animals.
Like men do their dicks. This was very wholesome until that.
Yeah, well, I can't keep it wholesome forever.
That's true.
That would be lame. Also, elephants cry. And if they like go by, if they're walking by an area where one of their elephant members has died, they will stop, have a moment, and you will see tears coming out of their little eyes. I know. They're so sweet. And if a mama elephant, if she dies, the entire tribe will find another elephant mama and be like, will you take this? And she's like, I would be happy to. And she'll take the baby elephant in as her own. Yeah, they're way better than we are. I fucking love elephants. Yeah, but they grieve, and they'll even have like a little funeral procession by their like little elephant friends who die. They'll like circle around them and they'll make noise and kind of have like a little ceremony. I know, it's so sad. They're so sweet. I love an elephant. So yeah,
Well,
there you go. There's your animals for the day. And I'll get my science bullshit brain together and bring you the frogs one that I got, because it's a good one. Yeah, you're going to love it. You're going to be like, what? And I'm like, I fucking know. It just took me a minute.
it's very interesting.
Yeah,
We
you're
learned about
welcome.
elephants today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're
In your
so
pink
sweet.
era, coming into your pink era.
Yeah, so you could be a pink elephant. Pink elephants on parade.
Okay.
Okay. Well, there's that.
Well, this was fun.
All right. Okay.
Well, thanks for sharing your elephant stuff with me.
You're welcome.
And on your unboxing of the things.
Unbox your box.
It's
Ooh,
there it
that's
is.
different. Maybe too much of that these days. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Bye.